So for this project, I start with a 10 by 10 canvas that I had painted white and yellow. And you'll see later on in this video that I end up repainting it white because I didn't really like the yellow. Anyway, I'm doing something here referred to sometimes as broken glass art. And I have an old vase that was broken already, and I finished smashing it up, and I thought it would make a cute pumpkin because of the bright orange color. In this video, you'll see me using a tool with the red handle, and it's called a nipper tool. They use it a lot of times with stained glass. It's a stained glass tool that they use to reshape glass, and that's exactly what I'm using it for here, to reshape some of the pieces of glass so that they'll fit better. I actually end up redoing this pumpkin a couple times and changing the stem multiple times until I'm satisfied. So I also add some green glass to this in a minute, and the green glass is a vase that I had broken up because if you watch any of my other videos, I break up a lot of glass to make faux sea glass. And this green glass that I'm using, I didn't tumble because it's the kind of glass that has a colored finish on it. So if you were to tumble it, the finish would come off. So I thought it would look real pretty as a base for this project. So here I start over again with my 10 by 10 repainted canvas. I think you can still see some of the yellow through it, but it is a lot whiter. So I reset all the glass and mess around with the stem multiple times, trying to figure out exactly what I'm going to do with it. I dump out a whole bunch of glass, and I probably spend about a half an hour trying to figure out just what to do with the stem. I replace the green glass at the bottom, and then at the very top I decide to add a little bit more color by putting some orange glass that I had broken up. And again, this glass can't be tumbled. Well, it could be tumbled, but if it was to be tumbled, it would turn out to be clear glass because it's just a finish on this glass also. The stems were actually made from tumble glass that I prepared myself in my tumbler, but you could easily make a stem with broken glass. Now it's time to prepare the resin. When I'm using resin, I use gloves, I use a respirator. It's in your best interest. It should really be done in a well-ventilated area. If you can do it outside and then move the project inside to dry at temperatures between 70 and 80 degrees, that would be best. The resin I'm using in this project is called Dr. Crafty. I had tried out multiple resins and they all honestly seem just about the same. This one I had a smaller bottle of, and so then I bought the bigger bottles because I use so much of it, and the larger the bottles that you buy, the cheaper it is per ounce. So this resin, like all the other resins, it's a 1-to-1 ratio. It is 1 part resin to 1 part hardener. And usually with resins, the hardener is much thicker and harder to get out of the container. And for some reason, with this one, the resin is real thick. And I didn't notice that when I had the smaller bottles of it. But anyway, so once you're done pouring the resins into the container, you start to mix it. You mix it for 2 to 3 minutes. You're supposed to mix it slowly. The slower you mix it, the less bubbles you get. You need to scrape the bottom and scrape the sides as you're doing it. And when you're done mixing it, you're ready to pour it. Now typically I'm doing projects on glass and not on canvas. So this is like the second or third time that I've worked with pouring it onto canvas. And when I do it on glass, I have to use the heat gun to get rid of the bubbles. But for some reason, I haven't noticed any bubbles on the canvases, so I haven't had to use the heat gun. Now, I have seen people use heat guns on canvases, but I just haven't had to do it. So anyway, once that's all mixed up, like I said, you're ready to start putting it on. I usually use a spoon and I divvy it out, put it over the glass first to make sure everything's covered. So you can use your finger to spread it out or a spoon or whatever you want. But the one thing that I've found with working with canvas, especially with this heavy glass on it, is it tends to sink a little bit in the middle. Now, I don't know if you were to use a more expensive canvas, if it's pulled tighter on there. I'm not really sure, but what happened with this one was I should have went back and checked it like I had others and added a little bit more to it, because there was some areas around the edges that needed more of the resin on it. So I ended up having to go back the next day and putting a little more resin on it and wait another 24 hours for it to dry. So especially, like I said, with this heavy glass on it, it kind of sinks towards the middle. So the second time when I put the resin on it, what I did was I put something underneath it in the very center so that it went toward the sides instead of toward the middle. So towards the end here, I started messing around with these pins. I took the butterfly off, put a little bee on, and then I started putting some pearls at the bottom, and also I had gotten these little sprigs with gold berries on it from the Dollar Tree that I had used in another project. And actually I had used them for the pumpkin sweaters that I made on another video. And I cut those off and put those at the bottom also. So when you're ready to let it dry, make sure that it's elevated a little bit so that it can drip off the sides. Otherwise it will stick to whatever you put it on. Now this is a silicone mat that I have it up on right now. And even though it is touching in those areas, it will not stick to silicone. But if you had paper under it, you'd be ripping it off of the paper. The canvas should be kept level while drying at temperatures between 70 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit, and it should dry overnight for 24 hours. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Hit the thumbs up button if you like it, and consider subscribing to my channel. Thanks again.